So big news came this week with Echo Fox signing Mew2King, and this came to me as a big surprise. But just to give a little bit of background, I saw a lot of people who didn't know who Rick Fox was, and who don't really know who Echo Fox is. So I want to give a little bit of background. If you want to get more of a comprehensive background, I recommend looking up Thoorin's video on it. He did a phenomenal job on explaining Rick Fox and who he is. The short end of the stick is that he was an NBA basketball player. He played with the Lakers for quite a while, so he played with people like Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. And he played a pivotal role in a lot of their championship runs from, I believe, 2000 to 2002. He wasn't the go-to player, but he was a guy that brought stability to the lineup, was a guy that you could rely on, made some crucial shots here and there. So that's why a lot of people are like, oh wow, Rick Fox is connecting with gamers. This is really huge because 15 years ago we wouldn't really have foreseen an NBA player shaking hands with Mew2King. So that's Rick Fox, and currently he's gone to esports. He's cited in several interviews that esports was a way for him to connect with his son, and so he's one of the biggest advocates of esports from the other more athletic end of things. So through that, he's been an avid League of Legends fan. You could see him in the past, hanging out with CLG, like players like Afro, Moose, Zion Spartan, or Deshaun. And he eventually created his own team. He bought Gravity Gaming out for about $1 million so that he could buy a League of Legends team. And he also owns a Counter-Strike team. And he also is starting to get into fighting games. So he also has Julio from Street Fighter V, and now he's signed Mew2King. Now the signing was a little bit strange in my book because of just Mew2King's, the things that you have to keep in mind when you sign a player like Mew2King. But I think the reason why they did it, I could deduce by how they went about it based on social media. So they want to have champion level players. And when I look at the roster of Smash players, you can keep in mind League of Legends, the other big teams like Cloud9, Liquid, TSM, they already have Smash players. So I imagine what happened was Echo Fox was like, what's the best player we can get? You've all come off the top. Armada's probably not leaving Alliance. Mango's definitely not leaving Cloud9. And with the amount of work that Red Bull and TSM is putting into Leffen, I don't imagine him moving teams. Hungrybox, I believe re-signed with Team Liquid and got a pretty nice contract. And so the next available player was Mew2King, whose contract just ran out recently. Now, from a talent standpoint, it makes sense. He's a top 4, top 5 player right now. Hasn't won too much yet, but if Echo Fox was going from a pure talent standpoint, the signing makes absolute sense. So that's the context. So in terms of Echo Fox being a legitimate organization, I would say so. Have a lot of financial backing. Rick Fox is heavily invested into making the esports thing work. They have a decent amount of money. And just moving up ahead, I hope that with Rick Fox coming from a sports background where you understand that not only are these things just a mental game, but also you have to prepare yourself physically, mentally, and psychologically. I really do hope that Rick Fox does realize some of the weaknesses of Mew2King and does invest in resources to help where cognitive gaming and even MEG haven't really provided. And I know that Mew2King in the past has really just said hey, I don't think counseling will help. I don't think therapy will help my issues. But I really do hope that Rick and his crew really do convince Mew2King to go through therapy, to go through and have more of a regimented thing to take care of himself. And I think Rick Fox is familiar with having the best world-class crew of people to really help people perform because he is with the Lakers, and I can imagine that he's probably going to bring some of those resources and some of those ideas that he's learned from being a player into investing in Mew2King. So I really do hope that at the end of the day that Mew2King does get the resources he needs, he does go through therapy, and does everything necessary so that he could perform at his best. So in terms of Echo Fox, they got the talent they wanted. This was the best available player they could have gotten. And at the same time, out of everybody, I think that this is probably one of the best sponsors for Mew2King from a standpoint of getting payment, from having a reputable sponsor, and from having a group of people that can really help him out more than any other team.